Good morning to you. It's Tuesday, the 8th of May, 2018. Welcome along, boys and girls, on an unusual Tuesday morning show for you today, because I won't have time to go to Slimming World, actually, this morning. Me and my mate, we are going for an afternoon tea later on. New place in London. We're going to London, somewhere near St. Paul's, apparently, and it's themed. It is called the Mad Hatter's Tea Party. So that's where we're going this afternoon for an afternoon tea. We're booked in now, I think, for 2 o'clock, but he's got some stuff to do first, and I've got a few bits and pieces to do as well. So that's why I'm not going to Slimming World this week. I've just weighed myself. We're gone up a little bit from last week, but that's okay, because last week we were bang on target. It's probably about 12 stone, 1 pound this week or something like that. So much better. Andrew on YouTube says, go to Fattening World. It's much more fun. Fattening World. I quite like that one. He's been watching a karaoke last night. We had a wonderful karaoke last night. Really nice. We had 18 singers, which was just perfect. Just perfect. Everyone sung 3 times. Some people sung 4 times even. So that was really, really nice last night. Once you start going over 17 or 18, it starts getting a bit long in between songs. So very nice. And people doing lots of different songs. And I want to give a special mention, actually, to DJ Chris, who, after 3 years, has actually started listening to me and is doing much less ballads and things are a little bit more upbeat. Because you see, as I've said so many times before, you do too many ballads at a karaoke in a run and it just kills it. And I don't care how good you are at singing a ballad. You might be the best ballad singer in the entire world. I mean, who can listen to an entire Adele album? Great singer, lovely lady, but too many ballads, one after the other. Oh, it's so depressing, dear. I mean, we've got bad enough problem here with people killing themselves left, right and centre, suicide missions and things like that. You know, we don't want to be helped along by listening to endless ballads. So a special mention to DJ Chris, who's not doing anywhere near as many ballads anymore. Did he do Everybody Needs to Rule the World last night, I think? Is that one he done? Everybody wants to rule the world. That one, you know. If you're new to the show, welcome along, boys and girls. If you're wondering why I'm talking about karaoke, we karaoke stream. We stream the karaoke twice a week at the moment, on Mondays and Fridays. Possibly Sunday as well, if I can find somewhere to put the camera. Okay, so we might be doing that on... Sorry, not Friday. We might be doing that on Sunday as well. Because Sunday, of course, is our brand new karaoke. There it is, behind me there, emblazoned on there at Nunhead. There it is. That's where we're going to be Sunday. The Pyrotechnics pub, which is like a family pub. It's a bit old hat in there, okay? It's a bit old hat in there. Very comfortable seats, old leather settees and things all around the outside, and plenty of seating in there. So that's Sunday in Nunhead Green, South East London. Sunday karaoke from 6:30. Yesterday... at the weekend, I did have a spare one of those posters, like the one on the top. When you order these posters, you actually did. Someone was asking me about this. How do you do the posters? Well, I use a company called Instant Print. Instant Print, and you go on there and you design your own poster. You haven't got to draw anything. You know, if I had to draw anything, it would never happen. I am the world's worst drawer. I can't do art. It's as simple as that. If I drew you a picture, you'd think it was a 3-year-old has just driven it. It's that drawn it. A 3-year-old has just drawn it. I cannot do art. Honestly, I can't. The only thing I can draw is a house with 4 windows, a door, and a couple of trees outside. That's the only thing I can draw. It always surprises me, this modern art that they put up everywhere. I saw one the other day, actually. Yeah, on the way to Nunhead. On the A3, before you get to Wimbledon, but actually a long way, even before you get to Ewell, way along, coming into London, suddenly this metal structure has appeared on a hill in the middle of a field. Oh, I mean, what is it? Modern art. It's ghastly. Thousands and millions of pounds are wasted on modern art, and yet you can go down to a primary school and see a wall full of pictures painted by 3, 4, 5-year-olds They're 100 times better than that modern art, dear. Put them in a frame and display them somewhere, please, now, for us to look at. And I'm probably, and I'm not as good as those 3-year-olds. I can't do art. So you go on the site and you kind of get templates. And you move things around and add texts and add pictures. It's actually relatively easy. If I can do it, you can too. It's quite easy to do that. So you design your picture and then you can save it to your computer. When you save it to your computer, mine ended up like that, as I just showed you, okay? So that yellow, that microphone, although the yellow, the microphone, the orange, the little white stars, can you see those? The blue, that was all on there. And the round circular thing, that was there as well. Everything else I've added, and indeed I've moved around the orange and the yellow and the microphone and the blue. I've moved bits and pieces around there. So it's quite easy to do. So you got that, you download that onto your computer, then you can post it on your Facebook and I can show you like I just showed you then. But you can also get ones printed out. So you're thinking now, oh, I bet that's really expensive. Well, it used to be. It used to be hideously expensive to print out leaflets and flyers. Not anymore. Let me tell you, if I tell you I got, and this is not just paper, it's like a cardboardy stuff. Can you hear that? Look, it's like thick. It's not like paper. So 50 of those, how much? Go on, have a guess. 50 of those, how much do you reckon that was? 50 posters in full colour, like that, professionally done, £24. 50 posters for £24. That's not bad, is it? Not bad at all. I don't feel ripped off at all. In fact, if anything, I think I've been a bit underpriced. And I go to the same company all the time, Instant Print. So if you ever need any posters, and you can have one done, you know, one's probably going to cost you £2 or £3. It's the same with many types of things. You know, the more you have done, the cheaper it becomes. So, I mean, I don't need 50. But you see, if you get 50 done, then you can put some up, which I've given to my friend Michael, who's kind of come up with this whole idea of doing it there. My friend Michael's got about 20 of them at the moment, which I gave him. He's putting some up in the shops around Nunhead and indeed in the pub. And I've still got 30 here because posters need to be refreshed. You know, after a few weeks, the corners start turning up. Do you know what I mean? A little bit like going to a cheap wedding when the sandwiches come out, don't they? And if they've been out a little while, you can tell because the corners have turned up. That's happening to my mate's face, actually. The corners are starting to turn up. He's so old. So that's the posters, and we're all looking forward to that. Ever so easy to do. Have a look on, excuse me, have a look on Instant Print and see how you get on there. So that was the karaoke last night, as I say. On the way to work last night, an easy journey into work last night, let me tell you. As you well know, it can take me 2 hours to get to work. Last night, 1 hour and 25 minutes. Can't go wrong with that. 1 hour and 25 minutes. I don't understand people in the slow lane, okay? I drive in the slow lane, and I do 55 miles an hour in the slow lane, you know, on the right on there. Why is it when the motorway is fairly quiet on the other foot? There's 4 lanes actually. This part of the motorway, there's 4 lanes. Inside, 2, 3, 4. Okay? And why is it people come up behind you and start flashing their bloody lights when you're in the slow lane and there's 3 lines empty? Can't you go around? Are you that stupid? The stupidity on the roads is unbelievable. You want to see some of them coming home at night. Oh, boy racers. There are probably girls in there as well. Foot down, inches away from each other's bumper. Absolute madness. Really is. So a nice journey in and a nice journey home as well. Now, when I got in, I had something to eat. And I must say, and I had baked beans on 2 corn steaks, which were very nice. That's what I usually have when I come in. Going up the stairs to bed, I think my mum was playing tricks with me last night. I could smell her roast dinners. How strange is that? I could smell my mother's roast dinners. Now, you know, you might say, well, you mean you could smell roast dinners? They all smell the same. No, they don't. No, they don't. You well know that your mother's roast dinners had a particular smell, didn't they? Well, it was in my hallway last night as I was coming up the stairs, and it made me feel warm and wonderful and lovely. And I got into my bed feeling quite happy. I really did. So that was nice, wasn't it? Mum playing tricks on me. There was a smell, and it's not my neighbour. It's not my neighbour. They're away. There was a smell of a very strong smell, actually, of my mother's roast dinners as I was coming up the stairs last night, going to bed. How bloomin' marvellous. And that is like the first kind of indication I've got something from her in the last 17 years. There were a few little things happened after she died, sort of within a few days of her dying, actually. And then there's been nothing until last night. Come up the stairs, and I could smell my mother's roast dinners. Oh, gosh. And I, as I say, came up the stairs. A little bit later, a few hours later, I went to go for a wee. You know, woke up in the middle of the night to go for a wee, and no, it's gone. Wasn't there anymore. So there was she'd done something in my hall last night, sending her roast dinner smells. Hello, Chris. I'm still there. Isn't that wonderful? Have you got any experiences like that at all, I wonder? How lovely. So that was last night. Let's say hello to some of you on the internet this morning. A very good morning to the lovely Claire. We missed you last night, Claire. Lovely night, Claire. You would have sung 3 times. Can I request Young Hearts Run Free next time you're in, please? That was the first song, as I do remember you doing when you first come along to the karaoke nights. Good morning to you, Claire. Claire says, why are there always 30-plus singers when I go? I know. Actually, with 2 lovely girls last night, Alex and Alex and Emma, and they haven't been there before, and they were sitting there, and we had about 45 people in altogether, and they were sitting there. She said, "Oh, it always looks so busy when we're watching it on the computer at home, watching the live video screens." I said, "Well, tonight is all right, but you're quite right. It usually is a lot busier than this. But I often can tell now if it's going to be packed or just reasonable. We never get a quiet night anymore. Simply by the roads on the way there." Last week, it was actually an easy journey in last week, and we had a quieter night then last week. I think we had about 17 singers last week, so we're slightly up on last week, but that's how it is. Claire went to French and Ponds on Sunday with the dogs. Absolutely beautiful there. The small beach was packed. Where is that, French and Ponds? I don't know that, Claire. French and Ponds, you must tell me where that is. Good morning, Paul Mosley in Birmingham. Yeah, it doesn't matter how nice the weather is. Where Paul lives, it's always dire, I'm afraid. Birmingham is a dreary place, whether the sun's out or it's raining or snowing. Birmingham, he's desperately trying to get out of there. I think he's put a little card in the newsagent windows all over Birmingham in the hope for a council exchange, aren't you, lovey? I mean, I could put one down here in Bracknell for you if you want to, Paul. Do you want to send me through a little card or perhaps a message? I'll print it out. I'll put it in the post office window for you. You know, council house for exchange. Have you got a garden or is it a block? Are you in a block, sort of 11th floor? You have to get in one of those wee smelling lifts. Andrew Parker, the Tate Modern or Tate Modern, as some call it. Well, the Americans used to go, when I used to work on directory inquiries, they would ring up for various numbers of different things. And one of the things they used to ring up was the Tate Modern Gallery, but they would call it the Tate Modern. Can I have the number of the Tate Modern, please? With American accent, which I'm not very good at. Paul went to the Tate once when it was rubbish. They were a pack of playing cards set on fire. I know! That apparently is art. It's not art, though. It's not art. Art is a beautiful picture, either painted by a 100-year-old person or a 1-year-old person. I've seen some fantastic art from children. I'm sure you have as well. Sometimes you go past some schools and the little ones have got they put their pictures in the windows, don't they? You see like a window display, or you can, sort of look in the window and you see on the wall and they've put all their pictures. Wonderful. Wonderful. I've got a couple of pictures downstairs, actually, as painted, I think, by great niece Evie downstairs. I've got a picture down there. I think it was a birthday card she made, with straw. She'd got this bit of card and stuck a bit of straw and a bit of glitter and done a little bit of writing. Wonderful, wonderful bits of art. Thank you, Claire. She's going to do Young Hearts Run Free. Excellent. Andrew says, I remember in the 80s when they used to throw paint on a giant board on the floor and whack it with ropes. Yes, I remember that. Paul says, Birmingham Dyer, what a cheek. We've got a new Lidl being built. I rest my case. Have you got a Waitrose in Birmingham? Probably not. French and Ponds is near Farnham, the National Trust tea room. Oh, that sounds nice. Well, that wouldn't be far for us to go, would it? Farnham in Surrey. Not far at all. Is that near Box Hill as well? Over on the YouTube. Good morning on YouTube. I think that's moved so far up there. I won't get the. We must get the person who put the first message in. There we are. Let's go on. Let's use my phone. Good morning to Tom Gully. Good morning, Tom. Hope you're well this morning. Found your song, as you well know. Thanks very much for all your requests for the Monday music and chat show yesterday morning. We managed to get all of those in yesterday. So I'm quite pleased about that. The week before we did it and we didn't get all the songs in, but I just take 5 requests out and we managed to squeeze all those in. So thank you very much for those, yesterday. You always make that easier for me to do. Good morning to Gustav. Nice to see you yesterday, Gustav. I think you had a good time yesterday as well, didn't you? Morning, Gustav. Hello to Diane Jeb. Wendy Young is there. Good morning, Wendy. Morning, Danny Gibbs. Ray Reynolds. Had a wonderful time last night. Thank you, Ray. Tom Elkins. I think I've already blocked you, haven't I, Tom? Are you the one that put the dodgy messages on there this morning? You've already been blocked. If you can still see Tom Elkins' messages and are upsetting you, refresh your page and they won't be there anymore. He's been blocked after 2 dodgy messages he sent. Wendy likes the sneezing fits. We used to have... If you're new to the show, you won't know. I used to have the most terrible sneezing fits in this studio. And it was virtually every single time. Every single time I came in here, within 2 minutes of me starting a show, I'd burst into sneezing fits. Doesn't happen anymore for some reason. Don't know why that is. Doesn't happen anymore. By the way, I got another new shirt. This is my last new shirt. Nice, isn't it? This one's slightly larger than the other two because I thought it was a little bit tight round. Do you like this? Look at this. Would you like a twirl? There we are. Look at that. Isn't that nice? A little bit baggy, this one. But I found the other ones... that I wore the last couple of days a bit tight. It's all very well. Oh, yeah, but they look good. No, I want to be comfortable. Don't care what I look like. Don't care. Hang on. Oh, talking about what I look like, I've bought up the 2 gifts that I've bought for the 2 little girls, 2 of the little girls in my life, which I shall be showing you shortly. Okay, how are we doing now? Where are we now? Good morning to Adam the plumber. Morning, Adam. Ross is there in Norwich. Ba 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 ba. Good morning, Ross. Welcome along to the show. That's twice in a row we've seen you this week. Are you not working? Have you got a little holidayette? A little holidayette? Was it you thinking about buying a caravan? I can't remember now, Ross. Were you thinking about buying a caravan? Good morning to Shane Cameron. Morning, Shane. Gustav did enjoy the last night, but he's wrecked desperately. He needs a Lucozade. Lucozade aids recovery. Although I'm not quite sure that it is. Good morning to Jason Prince. Careless Whisper. Oh, that song that you sung, love. I remember I was telling you, there's a lovely little club that I go to occasionally called Chariots. And I was in there on Sunday night after I visited the Pyrotechnics, where we're starting the karaoke next week. And Jason Prince, who's with us this morning, he's a singer and DJ and other things as well. And he remade Careless Whisper, like a disco version. And where I was on Sunday, they started playing it, which was lovely. Except the bloke I was with at the time, I was chatting away to someone in there. I just burst into fits of laughter when I heard Jason Prince singing this. And I think the bloke thought I was taking the mick out of him and walked away. He got up and walked away. That's your fault, Jason. That's your fault. That's Barry Manilow and Judy Garland behind us. Thank you, Wendy, for pointing that out. That's our Barry Manilow calendar, as provided. Wendy, every year she buys me a calendar. Isn't that kind? People are kind, love. They are kind. Tom says too many ballads start to sound like a long funeral dirge. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Tom. But you can't tell some people. You can't tell them. Please don't do it. Oh, but I like that one and I'm good at it. I don't care how good at it. Think of the people watching in front of you. No one thinks of them. It's about them. And you singing, of course, but you have to think about the people singing as well. There was a cabaret act I worked with, who I have great respect for. A very good cabaret act. And they would... if I tell you what the song is, that might give it away. I don't want to tell you who it is, really. But I will. Let's see how far along we can do this. And they were doing a set of Boy George songs. And it was going well, some were upbeat, some not so upbeat. And I thought, what a great night. And then he finished with Victims. Oh my God. And it just took the whole show, everyone clapping, yeah, dude, come on, and all this business. And then he finishes with Victims, and it brought it down with a bang, let me tell you. Really important. If you're going to sing, you need to start with something upbeat. Hello, everyone. Like Young Hearts Run Free. What's the sense into everyone's dancing away? Then in the middle, swap it around. Do a ballad or two in the middle if you want. And at the end, something big again. Don't finish with This Is the Moment by Jacqueline Hyde. This is the moment. Because you've brought it down again. You've taken it up, and at the end you brought it down. That Victims must have been one of the worst songs ever to finish a show with. It was appalling. Not the way it was sung. There was nothing wrong with the singing. Nothing wrong with the entertainer. The choice of song to finish a set. No. Awful. Good morning to Ray Reynolds, who says, when you've had your afternoon tea, go to the New Change Shopping Centre at St Paul's, take the glass lift up to the top floor for a lovely free view of London. Thank you, Ray. Now, what's that called? The New Change Shopping Centre. Change Shopping Centre lift. Thank you, Ray. I'll have a look at that. Hopefully I won't have terrible wind when I get into the lift. Here's something to do with one of your best mates, boys and girls. Go, if you feel that you've got wind, go on an escalator and stand in front of your mate. As it's going down or up. I'm terrible this morning, terrible. You don't want to see any of my art, Wendy, I'm telling you now. Good morning, Evan. The stars are shining brightly, for Evan has his own observatory, and the sky, and it's so clear at the moment. He sees lots of things and takes pictures and often sends them in to me. Good morning, Evan. I'm glad you like the shirt. Danny, good morning, Danny. Love a sandwich buffet. I love a sandwich buffet too, Danny. We call them afternoon teas. Young Phoebe. Good morning, Phoebe. Where have you been, dear? Sometimes you pop up, then you disappear again. Good morning, Phoebe. Ross says you should keep every flyer to keep. Be nice. Well, I never did that, Ross. Some entertainers, DJs, whatever, entertainers, singers, big stars, they keep all their flyers. Yeah, I know a DJ called George Mitchell. Also known as, you may know them as the Sharp Boys. They did a lot of remixes, not so many now, but certainly a few years ago, they were hugely popular, all their remixes and all that. And I started with him actually at a place called Kitty's Bar, which was in sort of Putney, Fulham, right on the, I just poked my eye out, right on the border there. And we started in this little pub together. He did mixing, he didn't talk. I did the personality thing, and he did some nights and I did other nights, and we met there and got on like a house on fire. And then he went on the sort of mixing route, and I went on the personality route, and we went our different ways. But we've always kept in contact. And George has a wonderful scrapbook of all his places where he's worked and all this, and he got them out and showed me. And he was even able to show me the advert that advertised me and him at that venue. He said, have you seen this, Chris? It was Kitty's Bar. And the advertisement for me was, and it was my suggestion, come and see the world's, London's worst DJ, who won Worst DJ of the Year award. And it was all this like big joke that I descended. You know damn well I like to send myself up as much as possible. Was it a... Thought I heard a what? I'm standing by. I've got the window open. I have my deaf bat with me today. This is an electric bat. Yes. Electric. So any insects come, I push the button, touch them, and they die. Wasps dead on the... Hopefully. Do you know, I haven't really tried it out properly. I'm sure I got a fly on there the other day, but nothing happened to it. So I'm a bit concerned about that, that it's not going to work. Do you think I should try it out with my finger? No, I don't think so. I'm standing by with my death bat. Yes. So So that's Kitty's Bar I was telling you about there, and it was a nice little place actually. Nice little place to work. Good morning to Christina. Good morning, Christina, down there in Portsmouth. You've been very quiet as well, Christina. Hope you're well. All right. Let's have a look there. People talking to each other. Gustav, are you sure it was the smell of roast dinner? Could you blocked up the toilet again? Certainly not. My toilet doesn't smell like a roast dinner, Gustav, if you don't mind me saying so. Unlike some of the places that you hang around. Yes. Tom Gully, that Emma was a star. Really liked it. Oh, you watched it last night, did you, Tom? Emma was the tall girl and Alex was the slightly shorter one. Lovely pair of ladies they are. They really are nice girls. All right. Ross says, my friend died a year ago. And one night his parents, I heard the front door close and someone walk up the stairs and his bedroom door closed. They weren't scared. They were happy. Yeah, exactly. Why would your parents want to come and haunt you and make you scared? That's not going to happen, is it? Unless you was a bad boy. I bet you were, Ross, weren't you? Were you a bad person? I've known Ross for about 10 years. When he was 21, he started calling himself an old fart. He thinks he's absolutely ancient now and he's only about 30. Something like that, aren't you? Good morning to Andrew Charles, watching in sunny Spain this morning. We got the sun as well at the moment, Andrew. It's so lovely here. It's so lovely here. I must say, I hate the cold weather, Andrew. I absolutely hate cold weather. Snow especially. I can't stand snow. And they're all out there, including my sister. Oh, isn't it pretty? Oh, it's so nice. Yeah, but you can't go in. You're stuck indoors. I hate it. I actually, Andrew, I have thought, perhaps in older years, I mean, I don't know how far, I'm 55 now, but in older years, I might sort of consider doing like a lot of the pensioners do in this country, and they sod off to Spain, don't they? They sod off to Spain for like the whole of the winter, 3 or 4 months. That might be quite nice, because the hotels do it really cheap. You can hire a hotel for like, I don't know, 4 months for much less, not like a week, not like £300 a week. Nothing like that. Probably more like a couple of £100 a month to stay in a hotel room because they can't let them to anyone else. So a lot of the pensioners go out there. That's an idea, isn't it? Although I might get bored out there, Andrew. I don't know. I'd have to have something to do. Wendy wants me to have more dust in here. It's bad. Have you seen the dust in here? I do have, my mate comes round and does a little bit cleaning for me now and again. But I don't let him come in here because there's too many wires. I can just imagine it because he picks things up and moves them. You know, like your mum used to do that. Sorry, mum. You know, they pick things up and moves them. What was it I couldn't find the other day? Oh, I know. I've got this teapot cover, like a Union Jack thing, that my lovely niece bought me. She bought me 2 teapots. That's what I wanted from her for Christmas. And she bought me these. And I just usually leave it on top there. Anyway, so I picked this up to put it somewhere else. And what dropped out from underneath? The teapot. He'd put it on the teapot. Well, I never left it like that. Oh, I can't bear stuff that's moved. But he does a good job when he does my cleaning, my mate. He does a good job. Well, you was careless with your... I was very careless with my whisper. Danny, I'll tell you later. Good morning to Joseph. Welcome along to the show, Joseph. And Juan's there in New York. Good morning, Juan. If you have wind, wait till Chris is DJing and request to sing. Not a good idea, Joseph. Phoebe's going to be here more often. She's in college doing exams and working a lot of the time. I watch from my mum. Phoebe, oh, Phoebe, I must tell you this. Now, what do you think of this, Phoebe? It's good news for you. Are you a millennial? Are you? I think you might be too young to be a millennial. But in the Daily Sun this morning, in the Super Soaraway Sun, look at this. All 25-year-olds, you'll want this, Phoebe. All 25-year-olds in the Sun this morning should get a £10,000 inheritance payment towards a first-time house deposit, business startup, training, or their pension, a think tank declares today. Oh, and where's this money coming from, I wonder? You know, is this one of Corbyn's ideas, is it? The big giveaway. The big giveaway starts soon with Jeremy Corbyn. He could have his own game show, couldn't he? Jeremy Corbyn, where any member of the Labour Party fires a gun at a board, goes through a string and all this money falls out. There you go, everyone. Free money for all. The story goes on. The Resolution Foundation, said the £7 billion freebie for millennials would be funded by doubling the inheritance tax take. There you go. It's going to come out your inheritance, lads. There you go. So all those of you that have been saving up for years and years, invested your money in your house, this, that and the other, this lot want to take it back off you and give it to the kids. It's outrageous, dear. What are we all supposed to live on? What are we all supposed to live on? Eh? Eh? My stuff, when I get sold, is going to nieces and nephews. Thank you very much. And great nieces and great nephews. That would upset the family, wouldn't it? If you left whatever you've got, whether it be small or big, and you jumped a generation. So there you go. You've got your nieces and nephews thinking they're going to get a little bit of a payout, and it jumps over them to the next lot. You could be watching from a cloud at the disappointed faces. So the millennials, a report from the... here comes a word. Here comes a word someone's thought of. You ready for this? A report from the Intergenerational Commission, okay? The Intergenerational Commission insists urgent help is needed for young people because they don't have the prospects of previous generations. And that is true enough. That is true enough. On a serious note, God knows how any of these young people are ever going to afford a house. And it's not fair. It's not fair. I have to tell you... I own my own house because of Margaret Thatcher. Now, wait a minute. Just before you start screaming and shouting, either I love Margaret Thatcher, as I quite liked her, or you hate her. Before you go on that, let me listen to this. Right? So, years ago, she was selling off all the council houses. Now, at the time, and even now, I wasn't sure that was the right thing to do. At this moment, I think that it probably wasn't the right thing to do, because we were told that the money from house sales would go into building more housing for the people that couldn't afford to buy houses. That's what we were told. The councils would collect this money in, okay, and they'd give it out again by building more houses for the homes that they've sold. So you sell one, you build one. The thing is, that didn't happen. Oh no. Wandsworth Council, that was indeed run by the Conservatives, used the money to keep their to keep the council tax low, so that they would be voted in again. All very dodgy. Now, I did indeed buy one of those council houses. You would be a fool not to. That was the offer. Wow, yeah, let's do that. So I bought one. That's how I got onto the ladder. Did I think it was the right thing to do? No. But sometimes an offer is so good that you'd be an absolute fool to turn it down. Unfortunately, this now means there's very little housing. I know disabled people who, one in particular actually, over in Wokingham, who will remain nameless, who's in terrible trouble at the moment. Because they tell her she hasn't got a place to go to. She's had to get out of one place, right? And she's now in a bed and breakfast place, and it's dreadful. People being sick outside, noise all the time. I'm gathered a police had to turn up at one of the rooms the other day. And then, of course, you've got the bathroom sharing. Dirty, disgusting people who don't keep the bathroom clean, not flush it. I mean, how can you use the toilets in a shared house and not flush the toilet? Dirty, disgusting people. Well, she's having to put up with all this now until they, and I quote, find you a place. But they've got no stock. They've got no stock. So, did I buy a council house from Wandsworth Council? Yes, I did, because that's where I lived. Do I agree with it then and now? No. I did agree with it because I thought the money was going to be spent on building new houses. That's what they told us all on the telly, but they didn't do that. So, and of course, that's just the renting. So people got nowhere to rent. They have to go to private landlords. Most private landlords are probably okay. Some are incredibly greedy, especially the ones in London, who just keep putting up the rent. I mean, how much money do you blooming well need, for Christ's sake? They've got millions of pounds stashed in the bank, and every year they put up the rent 25% or whatever they put it up. Some of you know, I am a landlord myself. When my mother and father died, I put my half of the money, I put the deposit down on places, and they're all rented out. And let me tell you, after people have stayed there 2 or 3 years, I do put my rents up each year, just by a little bit. Do you want to know how much? Well, if you've been at one of my places more than 2 or 3 years, I put the rent up £10 a month. It's not bad, is it? That's all. £10 a month. You can put it up 5% a month. Up to 5% a month, I think the estate agent says. You can get another 5%. And I'm like, no, £10 is enough. What do I need loads of money for? Don't need it. But some of them are very unfair. They are so led by money all the time. Money. I've never, ever been led by money. I really haven't. I think you need to be fair to people. And there's a lot of people that aren't fair. And this is where I think the government need to step in and do something about these people who are just taking more and more and more out of the system all the time. Good morning to Darren. Morning, Darren. Who says 45% tax, then double inheritance tax. I may as well spend it all while I can, which is why I do. I had noticed, Darren, when you're out in the pub, dear, that wallet is permanently open. Isn't it? Poor Darren. Yeah, bless his heart. He's got this job where he gets he's on minimum wage, Darren. £7.80 an hour. I think he does some sort of writing or something like that. I think he writes menu for a Chinese restaurant around the corner. I don't know how he does all the little shapes and all that. That's what Darren does. He writes menus for restaurants, doesn't you? Paul says, I'd loved 10 grand when I was 25. I'd gone on some great holidays. Well, that's the trouble. A lot of them will do that. They'll straight away spend it on holidays. My nephews wouldn't, probably. Well, my older nephew... Can I just turn on my air conditioning thing here? Hang on a minute. I'm going to close the window. I'm getting really hot here. 1 minute now. Oh, dear. It's very hot in here. What's the time? How is it 10 to 10 already? Gosh, the time goes so quick when we're having a chat, doesn't it? What was I saying now? I forgot what I was saying now. Gosh, I can't remember where I was now. I've lost the thread now. That's because it got so hot in here for a moment. All right, it's come on now. Darren says people will always need menus. I'll never not work. I think you're right. I think you're absolutely right. You will never not work. People always need menus. Although, steer away from the Pizza Huts and the Carluccio's. Just go for the little private restaurants. You'll get better looked after there. You will. You might even get a free meal now and again. Yeah, look at his little ears prick up when I said a free meal. Yes, am I right? So that £10,000. Oh, yes, £10,000. You're quite right. Some people would get that 10 grand. It'd be gone like that. That was the whole idea with the pensions thing, you see. Pensions, for example, myself, I can, I did. You can take out 25% of, you can take your whole pension at the end of it if you want to. But what some people were worried about, quite rightly, is that some people would take out that pension and spend it. And the whole idea of a pension was it would keep you going in for years and years until you die. So you wouldn't be perhaps a burden, perhaps to family or something like that. But they changed the rules a little while ago. I could go to my pension company tomorrow and say, OK, send me all the money. And they would have to send it to me. You would be taxed on that. Not the first 25% you would get taxed on that. You can have 25% once. You can only do that once. So if you was, let's take £100, right? If you had £100 pension, you could take £25 out of it. So £25, tax-free. £25, there you go, spend it. But you can't then go back and take 25% of £75 a bit later on. No, you've had it now, that's it. So any more than that, and it's taxed. So if you was to then take £5, they might take £1 back of tax, so you only get £4. Get it? All right? So that's how that works. But you could take the whole lot. You could take the whole £100 and then you get £25 free of that, and then you will be taxed on the other 75. So that's how it works. With my one, I took the 25%, which wasn't, I have to tell you, it wasn't a huge sum of money. Wasn't. I have a smallish pension, smallish. Not tiny, but smallish. And I left the rest there to hopefully do a little bit better if I need it in years to come. But anytime I want, I can just pick up the phone and say, oh, hello, could you send me £200, please? And it would just come. Because I've saved that for 25 years. What they were concerned about was people suddenly saying, all right, can I have my £100 and then going on holiday? Or buying a car or buying a boat. Well, it's all gone then. It's all gone. What are you going to do now for the rest of your life? Oh, the government pay a state pension. Yeah, how many people do you see struggling on that? And I don't think there's an answer to that either. Because there's more and more old people. I mean, look at the people watching this show now. Practically ancient. 1 foot in the grave, most of you, haven't you? Eh? But my nephew, going back to that £10,000 that they're, this think tank, who was it now? What's the name of the think tank? Oh, the Intergenerational Commission. Oh, God's sake. Another non-title. The report from the Intergenerational Commission insists urgent help is needed for young people. And they are, of course, quite right. But I think a lot of those young people would waste the money. My nephew wouldn't. One of my nephews, Gary, he would just immediately give it all to his wife because she does all the money and all that. He ain't got a clue how much is in his bank account, my nephew. Not a clue. He's 33. My other nephew, Jimmy, who's 21, he'd immediately put it into the bank. He would put it into a bank and possibly do something with his business because he runs, he's got his own unit. He's only 21, he's got his own unit and he fixes cars when they get scratched or slight dent or something like that. And sometimes he takes bigger jobs on, which he then, get this, he then gets his dad to come in and perhaps weld a new wing on a car or something like that. Thanks, Dad. He don't pay him. He don't give him anything. Shocking. Shocking. And I can't criticise him. I can't, because I used to do the same thing. It must be a father-son thing. I remember when I used to work for British Telecom, Director Inquiries, years ago. One of the most boring jobs in the world, but I enjoyed it. And when I used to do overtime, perhaps on a Saturday, I used to cycle to work. I used to cycle from Roehampton to Warple Road in Wimbledon. And I would cycle across Wimbledon Common. I actually used to cycle past where that poor girl was killed years ago. Do you remember? And that bloke from Roehampton, Colin Stagg, got the blame for that. And I think I can't remember if he got put in prison or something, but years later, he was acquitted from it. And they said, well, no, we've made a mistake. He didn't do it. I actually cycled past that place. And I used to cycle through there and back, all weathers, snow, rain, sun. Beautiful in the summer, of course. 7 o'clock in the morning, I'll be cycling over Wimbledon Common. Oh, it's beautiful over there. Such a nice place. And I used to work at BT, which was all right, That was my thing. Once again, I've lost the thread of the story. I don't know what's wrong with my head this morning. God. Where am I going? Where was I going with that one? What was I just talking about? I was just talking about my nephew, weren't I? Talking about my nephew who does the car fixing and all that. Oh, that's it. Yeah, that's it. So, on a Saturday, I might do overtime. And I used to get my dad up out of bed on one of his days off, because he used to work at the Evening Standard. He used to work at the newspapers in Fleet Street. And on his day off, he would get up at 6:30 in the morning to take me to work to get there for 8 o'clock. And I gave him nothing. I didn't give him, of course, once they're dead. Once you've got older, you feel so guilty. You feel so guilty about this. I didn't used to give him anything. In fact, I used to have a go at him if he was late or something like that. Who the hell did I think I was? What a horrible person I was. But then later on, well, you see perhaps how other sons are and daughters with their fathers. And I think, oh, well, yeah, I was like that as well. Maybe that's just how it is. I do have a son, and if he asked me to do something, I'd probably do it, and I wouldn't expect anything. Even if he was offered, you wouldn't take it. It's the same with my nephews. You know, if they ask me to do something, and my niece, of course, if they ask me to do something, or I take them away, or perhaps they want to borrow something, you know, you wouldn't ask for it back or ask for some sort of payment in return. Perhaps it's an age thing, isn't it? It's an age thing. That's the answer. It's an age thing. Isn't it? When you can make it even a bigger gap. For example, great niece Evie, who's 6 now. She was 6 a couple of weeks ago. Sometimes she asks for sweets. Oh, Uncle Chris, can we go to the sweet shop? Well, she don't just ask, actually. If we're on one of our holidays, like a Haven holiday, she will grab my hand and drag me into the sweet shop. That's not a joke. She does. Uncle Chris, can we go and get some sweets? Drags me into the shop, dear. Or ice cream or something like that. It's deadly going in that sweet shop. And they got the pick and mix, the fudge. Oh, the fudge is to die for, isn't it? You get dragged into the shop, you know, and when so can you have some sweets? So you buy the sweets. You don't give her the sweets and then go back to the table. Well, can I have the 20 pence for that? Well, for pound. Can I have the pound for that bag of Maltesers, please? No, you don't do it. You just lovingly do it, don't you? And then later on, she might get fed up with you and she goes off and you'll sit there left and alone. But you don't feel bad about it. You don't feel used. I certainly don't when I've bought something for my nieces and nephews. You don't expect or want. No, you don't want anything back. You don't want that pound for the bag of Maltesers. You don't want the petrol money for collecting your nephew. I mean, back about a year ago, I was on my way to my sister's. I think it possibly was one of the Christmas dues. Can't remember now. But anyway, what usually happens, my sister lives in Lincolnshire. And to get there, I will usually do a job, okay? At the moment, that would probably be Central Station or the King's Head Theatre Bar. I'll do the King's Head Theatre Bar, and then I'll drive up there. Now, if it's a Friday or a Saturday, then it'll be Central Station, and I finish here at midnight. So at midnight, I finish my job, and I get into my car, and I make my way up north. And I've been travelling for about 2 hours. The journey is about 2.5 to 3 hours, depending on traffic. When I say, you know, although it is like midnight, you've got to get through the London bit, and there's a lot of clubs and pubs coming out at that time, so that can get a bit sticky until you get onto the motorway. And I'm about 3/4 of the way there, and my phone rings. It's my nephew, so it's now about 2 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, and it's my nephew Jimmy. All right, Jim. He said, "Where are you?" I said, well, I'm just on the A1M, you know, just coming up there. I'll be about another half hour or so. Oh, are you coming via Lincoln? Well, no. Lincoln's further up. So if my sister's here, I'm here, there's Lincoln, right? It's not a massive difference, but it's about 35 to 40 minutes away from Woodall Spa, which is where my sister lives, okay? So that bit there. So he said, oh, you're not coming here, Lincoln. Oh, it doesn't matter then. No, well, why? What do you want? Are you out somewhere? Yeah, we're in a nightclub. Me and George, his friend, George. I said, well, okay, what do you want picking up or something? No, if you're not coming that way, it doesn't matter. I said, no, it's fine, Jimmy. I said, just tell me where to be. Have you got a name of a road? And he said, oh, well, it's this road here. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So I was knackered, but I wanted to do that. It didn't cross my mind for one moment that it cost me X amount in petrol or time or anything like that. He wanted that, so I felt it my duty to go up and do it. I wanted to go and collect them from the club, and I pulled up outside the club. Of course, they're nowhere to be seen. I had to get up, get out of the car. I'm walking around. And it was funny because all these youngsters are coming out from this club and there's the door lady there. And I thought that was me a few years ago, coming out of a club like that. And the door lady was there. I said, this club must hold 2,000 people. And what did I do? I was so stupid. I went up to the door lady. Have you seen Jimmy at all? Like she would know who Jimmy is. Of course she didn't know who Jimmy was. And then as I turned around, he's walking down the road with his mate George and a pizza. He's got a pizza. All right, Chris. He's pissed. The pair of them are. Chat. All right. He said, where's the car? Around there. Oh, okay. So I chucked them in the back of the car. They started scoffing. There's pizza. And of course, where they were drunk, they start talking. And on. Not so much Jimmy, but George. On and on and on. Chat. All the way. Telling them about these girls that they saw dancing there and all that. And I drove them back home, No problem. You don't expect anything from me. So, after telling you that, I kind of get the whole thing, whereas I never said thank you to my dad or anything like that. They got out of the car. Did they say? I think they probably did say thank you, but part and parcel of growing up, I guess. So we're not to be so hard on ourselves after all, are we? Back to some of your messages. Let's have a look at that. Paul says, don't worry about if they take the 10,000. They might take the house off you, but you could still buy a flat in Dudley. No, thank you, Paul. Is that near Birmingham? Andrew reckons I'm going to end up my days with a Brummie accent. Well, I worked in Brummie for a while. I did a karaoke there along opposite the Nightingale Club. Can't remember the Route 69, Route 6, Route 64, something like that it was called, I think. And I'm not buying a caravan there either, Paul, no. Phoebe said I'd be here more often if it wasn't for being in college, doing exams and working a lot of the time. I watch with my mum. Oh, you bless. Aren't you a lovely girl you are? Hello to Jason Shaw. Jason Shaw. Hello. Good morning, Jason. Glad you enjoyed the karaoke stream last night. We had a lovely night last night, as I say. Joseph said, but the snow is so pretty, right? The UK hosts dragged us down and let them go. Let them go. Let them go. We hate snow. I'm not a fan of snow. Tom says it's 93 degrees in Dallas today. That's 33 Celsius. It's funny, Tom, and I've mentioned before about temperature. Some of us, including me, for some reason, we do the hot weather in Fahrenheit because it sounds so much better, doesn't it? What sounds better? 33 centigrade or 93 Fahrenheit? What sounds better? Go on. Exactly. Do you see what I mean? It's true, isn't it? If I said to you, it's going to be 15 degrees centigrade, it doesn't sound very good, which is about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. Oh, that's quite a nice day. Quite a nice day. Not bad. Little bit chilly, perhaps just a little bit chilly, but not too bad at all. 60 degrees Fahrenheit, 20 degrees, 15 degrees centigrade. Well, what's that? We don't really know, However, when it comes to cold weather, if I said to you it's going to be -2 degrees centigrade, that's damn cold. But if I say minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit, I can't work that out in my head. That sounds cold, but I don't know how cold. Whereas I know how cold -2 degrees centigrade is. I think I was at school, certainly in the 70s, and we were halfway through this metric imperial thing changing over. The trouble is, it never changed over. So we're stuck here in the UK with this kind of halfway thing. Whereas you go to Europe, it's all metric. It's all metric, 1 to 100. In America, it's all imperial. They don't know what a metre is in America. They don't know what it is, a metre. That's all inches, Fahrenheit, gallons. Over here in the UK, we could never decide. So we've got kind of half-half here, haven't we? I know what a pound of carrots should weigh, roughly, in my hand. I don't know what a kilo weighs. Kilometres and miles, well, that's just... I have no idea what a kilometre is. No idea what a kilometre. I know what a mile is. Don't know what a kilometre is. I can roughly know what a metre is and a foot. So I'm kind of halfway between, and that's what happened in this country. We never kind of completely moved over to the other ones. All our signs, all our road signs are still in miles per hour, including the flashing ones above the motorway. Incidentally, don't ever enter a red X, very dangerous. Phoebe, I'm a bit too young. Oh, she's only 17. So you're not a millennial, Phoebe. You're okay. You're all right. It's the millennials we have problems with, really. Mouthy people they are, dear. Mouthy. Hello to Ifar, watching on one of the Learn English website groups. Good morning. Carmel, too benefited from Mrs. Thatcher, as we all did, Carmel, I think. You know, I liked her. She was a very strong character. You don't always have to like the politics of someone to actually like them. You see, I believe with all these different politicians and this, that and the other, they're all doing what they believe to be right. Whether it be Theresa May or Jeremy Corbyn or Nick Cable or whoever's running UKIP this week, they are all doing what they really believe is the correct way to go about it. It depends how strong they are, you see. There has been some very strong characters. Mrs. Thatcher was a very, very strong character. And that's who you want leading a country. Someone who's very strong, I think, really. But who will also listen to others around them, you know. Christina says, my rent goes up 10% each year and it still takes 6 months to get the doors and gate fixed. Let me tell you, Christina, as I said, once someone's been with me 3 years, I put it up £10 a month. That's it. That's it. That's all. I like to be very fair. And when something goes wrong in one of my places, I want it fixed 2 weeks ago. You know what I mean? I'm very quick at doing that. Good morning to Poor Vassan. Welcome along to the show, Poor Vassan. Phoebe says, if I was to get all that money, I'd like to give some of it to my parents to help pay for bits of bills and everything. How nice is that? You're nice, Phoebe. You're a nice girl. I'd love to have you as a daughter, my darling. I'd like to use it to start up a business in makeup, face paint and special effects. Well, Phoebe, my nephew, the way he saved up a bit of money from when he was doing his apprenticeship, and then he actually took out a loan. He actually took out a loan and, as I say, hired a unit and bought all the equipment and all that, and then started jobs. But he don't like spending his money, my nephew, Phoebe. And he has got a girlfriend. He's got a girlfriend, but he don't like spending his money. He took her out for dinner the other day. I shouldn't really tell you this. He took her out for dinner a few weeks ago. He's on the phone to me. He said, well, I've just taken her out for dinner. That's cost me 60 quid, that has. He don't like to spend his money. He honestly don't like. My sister cannot get any housekeeping out of him, and it's terrible. I used to pay £5 a week housekeeping, and I must admit, I didn't always give my mum that. I know that don't sound a lot to you, Phoebe, but that would equivalent to about £25 or £30 a week now, I suppose, in those days, you know. It's a child-parent thing. If you're parents, you love your children, whatever. If you're a child, as you get older, I think you just keep criticising them for some reason, especially when you're a teenager. Especially when you're a teenager. Oh, I was horrible to my mum and dad. I know I was. And you can't forgive yourself over that once it's happened, unfortunately. Hello, Guillermo. Welcome to the show, Guillermo. What long time no see. Good evening to Shasaiba. I can't quite say your name now. Who wants to know what's going on? Well, all you've got to do is watch and work it out yourself. It's not difficult. Good morning, Adrian Richardson. Morning. Daniel Gibbons. Welcome, Daniel Gibbons. That's a nice name. Adrian says, what about 12 inches or 120 centimetres? No, I don't think 12 inches is 120 centimetres. No, I'm pretty sure 12 inches is not 120 centimetres. Because you've just added a naught on the end. I'm sure it doesn't work like that. It's very, very complex. It really is. Morning to non-Irish Mary joining us this morning. Danny says, my mum charges my nephew £80. Daylight robbery. What a week! Christ, she must be loaded. What's he get for that? Gold sheets. £80 a week. Look, I only found one sock this morning. I don't know where the other one's gone, so I haven't bothered putting any on. I've lost the sock again. Oh, I haven't shown you my little things yet. Let's just do these other messages and I'll show you. Tom says they tried to convert us to metric in America in the 1970s. America said, nice try, not going to happen. Well, it shouldn't have happened here. Just ridiculous. We were quite happy with imperial measurements. Why did we have to change everything all the time? Thank God we didn't get that ghastly euro dear. You know, monopoly money. If you've never seen monopoly money before, just go to France or Italy and buy some euros. Ghastly things, dear. They don't even look like real money. Is this one here? Here's one here. A 5... Is that... Oh, I can't even see it. Just a minute. What is this? It says 5 on it. I don't know what that picture is on. 50 cent. There you are, 50 cent. Look at it. Ghastly things, dear. Pounds, shillings and pence. Or dollars and cents. That's all you need. You don't need these nasty euro things, dear. Phoebe can't help but spend my money when I have it. But at the moment, I'm saving because I've got a college trip to London. Oh, what are you going to, darling? Is it a museum trip or something like that? How wonderful. What are you going to do in London? You must tell us, Phoebe, now. Please tell us. Mary used to hand over half my wages. I think it was the time then. I remember my mum telling me that when she got her first job, with her first lot of wages, she bought her mum my nana present. How lovely is that? I didn't do that. I wish I had now. Of course you do. But I didn't do that at the time. That's what my mum did. I remember her telling me that. And funnily enough, she told me that just before I started my job. I'm not quite sure what she meant. Mary says, I didn't know that my mum put every penny of it in a bank account for me. Yeah, and I would probably do that if it was my son. If I was taking money off my son, then for, what do we call it? Rent and housekeeping and all that, I'd probably do that. I'd put it in the bank and then at a point you'd give it to them, wouldn't you? I'd probably do that. Oh, blimey, just a moment. Just a second now. I've missing out the YouTube messages, aren't we here? Gosh, I've missed a load. Sorry, gang. Let me just scroll up there. Andrew says, I hate Google Maps loading in KM all the time. What's KM? I don't know what that is. I get sick of changing it. It knows I'm in the UK, so it... Oh, in kilometres. I beg your pardon. Yes, of course. Do you have to keep changing it to miles? I use Waze, W-A-Z-E, as my map thing. Okay. Claire says, did I hear you have a son? I do, yes. I do. He's 34. Unfortunately, there's no contact at all there, I'm afraid. So I can't really talk about that. Paul, I used to pay my mum and dad £5 a week. At the end of the year, she would give me £260 back. You see, yes, I'd probably have done that as well, Paul. I would have done, yeah. 12 inches is apparently 30.48 centimetres. Thank you, Andrew, king of the mathematics this morning. Oh, yes. Darren's got 12 inches, but don't use it as a rule. Yes, I heard you don't use it very much, Darren. What with getting on the bottom of the bus most of the time, from what I've heard. Claire says, parents give their children everything without expecting a return. Yeah, and it goes the same with uncles and nieces and nephews. Let me tell you that now. I took so much from my dad, even a £6,000 caravan, without ever saying thank you. Thank you, Claire. Do you know, you telling me that does make me feel a little bit better myself. You think you're the only one doing it, don't you? You know, when my dad used to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning, he could have been in bed on a Saturday till 10 in the morning, but no, he got up at 6 o'clock in the morning to take me to work, only to have me moan if he was like 30 seconds late. Come on, Dad, are we going? Are we going? Oh, it's late again, Mum. He didn't have to do that. It's a child-parent thing, isn't it? I know it is. I know it is. Hello to Liverbird Gaming, who said, saying about the euros looking like Monopoly money, the new £5 and £10 notes look like it. Why go plastic? Yes, I agree with you. Have you noticed how slippery the £10 notes are? Not the £5. They're not too bad. The new £5 are not too bad. But the £10 notes are really slippery, aren't they? They keep falling out my wallet, dear. There's a trail of poor people running behind me, picking them up as I drop them. Hundreds of them, dear. You're going to be walking behind me now, hoping that I'm going to drop loads of money, aren't you? Christ. I'm not rich, you know, blimey. Thank you. Claire says, I realised in time before my dad died and sent him a thank you letter. My mum said they cried. He cried when he read it. Yeah. That's a very special moment just before someone leaves the world, isn't it? Yeah. Very special moment. I remember going to visit my dad in hospital. I think it was New Year's Day, so I'd just been DJing somewhere New Year's Eve, and on the way home I popped into Queen Mary's Hospital in Roehampton, and he kept pointing at the light. The light, the light, the light. I said, well, what about the light? And he'd had a stroke, so he couldn't talk properly. Oh, I think we had a little chat there. I said, are you worried? Are you worried? I said, yeah. And I'm like, and I thought, well, he won't be worried about himself. He said, worried about mum. And he went like that, just nodding. I said, well, don't worry about that. I'll look after mum. You know that, don't you? And he was quite happy with that reply, you know. And I think that's the last conversation I had with him there. It's a very special moment. If you're very lucky enough to be with something just before they go to somewhere else, you know, a very, 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 very special moment that is. It really is. All right. New money is like plastic. Well, it is, isn't it? There's actually a monopoly. Funnily enough, talking about monopoly, do you know there's a monopoly now that it comes with a little card machine and a credit card. And it doesn't have money. Honest, I can't remember what it's called now. But I love Monopoly, don't you? Here's a secret. Do you want to win at Monopoly? Buy the brown ones and the blue ones. Don't worry about Mayfair and Park Lane. Get the brown ones and the blue ones. I've always won on those. If you can get the whole side down there, because they're cheap to buy and they're cheap to build up. And if you've got a hotel on a blue one, a light blue one, right? That's £500, dear. £500 rent, dear. More than I get from my places. God's sake, man. Paul says it's not like you to break into a £10 note. Certainly not. Certainly not. I'm the one who stands there at the supermarket with the change. You know, I don't think I've... Oh, do you want to just give us the £5? No! Got enough change here. I don't want to give you the £5. Oh dear, we do have a laugh here, don't we? Morning to Andy Baker, very late today, Andy. We've been here for 4 hours. I started at 6 this morning. Still haven't run out of things to say. Well, I've got to go soon because I've got to take my pills, otherwise I'll peg out on here. You'd love that, wouldn't you? If I told you I was going to not take my pills and within an hour I was going to die, you'd all share this onto your walls, wouldn't you? Quickly, watch, Chris is going to die. Down the pubs, they wouldn't worry so much down at the pubs about that. Oh, we will better get someone else in. Let us know when he's gone. Liverbird Gaming says, I always remember the last thing my mum said to me. She said, thank you for me looking after her. And I said to her, she brought me into this world, looked after me. As a child, it was the least I can do. How lovely. Oh, there's some lovely stories like that around the world. Thank you for sharing that, Liverbird. By the way, where are you, my darling? Whereabouts are you in the world? Do let us know. If you're new to the show, always put where you are, because we like to know where people are. I like keep a beady eye on you. Kevin Fleming. Good morning to Kevin. Morning, Kevin. Is that one of your friends, Danny? Kevin, morning. Juan says, on the last conversation with Dad, so many memories. Oh, lots of memories of Mum and Dad. Mum and Dad, they were hard workers as well, my Mum and Dad. Let's have a look here. Well, what's this here? Okie doke. That's done there as well. Good. Alrighty. Okay, we're going to wrap up now, boys and girls, because I've got a few bits and pieces to do. It's 25 past 10. I don't know where the time comes and goes like that. Martin O'Neill from Liverpool. Thank you. I love the Liverpool accent, Martin. That is my UK's favourite accent, Liverpool. I love the Liverpool accent. You'll have to call in one day when we got the phone lines open. All right, my friend. Let's do today's birthdays. I'm going out for an afternoon tea today. We're going somewhere near St. Paul's to a Mad Hatter's tea party. So that'll be a little bit different. I'll take the camera with us as well, complete with cracked screen. Have you seen this? Look, don't know if you're going to be able to see that. If you're wondering why I've got that on there, I'm watching myself so I know it's on. Do you see what I mean? If that was to go off, I'd know that you couldn't, I'd be sitting here talking to myself. Which I do when you're not there, I must admit. Sometimes I just turn the camera on and just talk to myself. I find myself very interesting. Huh? Look, I've cracked this. 150 quid that's going to cost. You can't really see it, can you? Oh, I don't know. You can. But the back camera's all right, so I'll use that this afternoon. And, actually... Oh, no, I'll use my mate's... My mate, he's got the iPhone X, he has. I'll use his show to do the front bits, and then that'll be all right. So I'll do a little video of the afternoon tea today, because we haven't been to that one. Birthday time then. Hello to Scott D. Silver, 57 years old today. Happy birthday to you, Scott. Have a nice day. Robert Caliph is 48 today. Robert, I met a few times when I was DJing at this alternative holiday things. It's some years ago now, but he's a DJ as well, and he's over there in Holland. So happy birthday to you, Robert. Happy birthday, Matt Novis. Very smart blue suit you've got in that picture. Wayne Coleman. Happy birthday, Wayne. Dave Smith, who does some radio. Happy birthday, Dave. And John Brox, who also does some radio. So happy birthday to you all, gang. Here comes the song. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday. Happy birthday. Happy birthday to you. Enjoy your birthdays. Andy says, I too love the Liverpool accent. If I heard someone talk Liverpudlian to me, it does things to me, I swear. What, even the girls in the Liverbirds? La da 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 da. Do you remember that? The Liverbirds, excellent song. And what was the one with the two fellas? Oh, there were two fellas, weren't they? Rodney Bewes and someone else. The Likely Lads. That was the other one. The Likely Lads. Was that Liverpool as well, weren't? Was the Liverbirds, which were two or three girls sharing a flat. One of them was really posh, and the Likely Lads were two fellas. Excellent programmes from Liverpool. Excellent, excellent programmes. All right, gang. Thanks ever so much for joining us today. Been a pleasure to chat to you as always. I'll see you again tomorrow morning, probably around about 9:30, somewhere like that, okay? Have a nice day. Get out in the sunshine, and I'll see you soon. Bye-bye now.